Welcome back. We're the Boathouse Girls. I'm Rachelle.
And I'm Becky.
And this is another fantastic episode of what it's like to be a Gen Xer, specifically a Gen X woman. Who grew up in the Midwest or elsewhere, because all Gen X, we can, connect in some way.
There are ties that bind, for sure. Yeah, I agree. How you doing today, cousin?
I'm here. Some days that has to be enough.
It has, yes.
I am here.
It has been a doozy of a week, and it's only Wednesday. Now, I got all sorts of texts today from people saying, happy hump day, we're halfway through the week. And it was no help. It's been a long week already.
I find that to be depressing. We're only halfway through the week.
I know. I'm sorry. We'll try and cheer it up as we go, right?
Yay. Okay.
I need a little caffeine or something. I don't know what we should have had. I should have had something to drink before I started this. Water is not cutting
through
it.
And smack you, but they haven't figured out that technology yet.
Thank God there's no teleportation yet.
Yeah.
Which, when we were little, we thought for sure things like that would exist by now. But oh well. Hey, I thought we would kick off today's Boathouse episode. Since we're going to be talking about women, Gen X women, I thought let's start with the women who started it all for you and me, Mary and Betty, our mothers. Oh. And my Boathouse question for you today isn't necessarily about the actual boathouse, but it is boathouse adjacent. I want to talk just for a minute about how our generation, many, many, many of us had stay-at-home moms. Yeah. And what are some beneficial things or even fond memories that you have about having a stay-at-home mom when we were growing up?
Well, first, when we were growing up, most moms I knew were stay-at-home moms. It was very rare that anybody was out working at that point because we lived in the farming community, small town community. And mom, that's a good question. What were some of the benefits of that? Well, I think like anything, I never had to worry about someone being home when I got home from school. I mean, we were the latchkey generation, but that wasn't true on the farm. And then as a backup, I had grandma across the yard.
Yeah, you did.
But yeah, mom was always home. Like if we had like something going on at school and parents were supposed to be there, like it was easier for her to do that schedule until, probably until there were more kids. But I think that was a big thing. Like you just knew your mom was going to be home.
Yeah. And she was available. And yeah, I was thinking about it today. And when we were sick during the school year, it was never a question of where we were going to be or who was going to be home with us. Or if we just, had to go to school because mom and dad couldn't find someone to watch us that day,
Right.
It was nice. Mom was there and she always made sure we had the puke bucket at our house when somebody had the stomach issue. I don't know what you guys had, but ours was a pail that she kept under the sink, like an old ice cream pail that was empty.
Okay.
And that's what we had. And mom would get out the bucket when one of us needed it. And we'd sit on the couch and there was a steady rhythm on the television. She would watch Phil Donahue in the morning. She would have The Price is Right on because we enjoyed that one. And then there was a gap. She didn't watch Young and the Restless at 11. She didn't watch a soap at 11. But at noon, when Days of Our Lives came on, the soap operas started. And then after that, it was Another World. And so we were entertained throughout the day, whether we liked it or not, by daytime TV. Yeah. And mom would take care of us. And if we could, if we were sick, we could eat a little or something. She would make chicken with stars or some kind of soup for us.
Chicken with stars.
Yeah, that was a favorite when we were sick. Yeah. And
I didn't.
Go ahead.
I didn't have the puke bucket. It takes a lot for me to get sick like that. I was more susceptible to the throat, ear, nose, throat conditions like tonsillitis and strep throat. And I'd like to say a special thank you to all those doctors who told my parents that taking out my tonsils wasn't beneficial. I'd either grow out of it in some way. You were wrong.
Here you are.
You were wrong.
You were wrong.
But I love that you remember The Young and the Restless was on at 11.
Oh, of course. Dude, I can still remember it. And heck, I got so good at, especially in the summertime, of watching The Price is Right. I won the whole thing more than once at the very end. I'd win both showcases.
Won the whole thing.
The whole thing. Both showcases were going home with me because I got within, what was it? Like if you're within $100 or $500.
$1,000, something like that.
Yeah. So I was good at it. I was always like, put me on Prices Right. You know, I had no concept that I had to go to California to do so. I don't know.
You can just hear the sound of the wheel.
And Bob Barker telling us at the end, have your pet spayed or neutered.
And I do. Thank you,
do too.
Bob Barker.
I do too. That's right. I also remember my mom she was a good baker, and she was really good at having something baking when we would come home from school. And we'd walk in the back door and come up the stairs into the kitchen, and the oven and stove were right there. And so we could feel the heat of it right away in the wintertime. The kitchen would be nice and warm. And there was always, chocolate chip cookies were the favorite. And so, man, that was the best. Coming home and there would be deliciousness waiting for us. That was pretty cool.
Betty was also a big baker. She still is. Big on the baking. She used to bake like in bulk. So wouldn't it be like when she made chocolate chip cookies, she made dozens and dozens and dozens of them. So, and there was like a huge Harvest Gold Tupperware container.
I remember that.
Yes. That would hold all the cookies, chocolate chip. Yes. But she also made a really good monster cookie. Remember those?
I do. That's a heck of a recipe. With
the oatmeal and M&Ms. Those were good.
And she had like sunflower cookies or something that she would make.
I forgot about those. Yeah.
Those were so
that was a
good.
Family recipe, I think, in one of the family cookbooks.
It is. It's in one of them. I've used it. I've made them. So
I forgot about those.
Yeah. And your mom makes fantastic caramel rolls to this day. Yeah. Not that I get to eat them anymore, but it's awesome.
Too bad for you.
If she ever masters the gluten-free ones, I'm there.
Baking. There was baking for sure. But getting sick. My mom was real good at she would, when I was sick, what I remember when I was littler, I didn't have to stay in my room. We had 2 living spaces, and I would get to stay on the couch, and the couch, we had a leather couch that would open up almost like a futon today. I kind of did that. And she would get the sheets and the blankets and the tissues and all that stuff. And I'd watch my Sesame Street and my electric company. Price is Right.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Pressure luck. Oh, whammies. But I think that was because my room was in that house that we lived in was tucked away. Do you remember that home?
Excuse me. Barely. Yeah, I do. I do remember.
Yeah. I had my room, and then there was the TV room, and then a long hallway down into the other part of the house. And I think it was so she could hear me if she was in the kitchen or in the other. More.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember that house. It's been a long time since I thought about it, though. I also remember the benefit of having a parent at home was if we had any appointments or things, like once in a great while, we'd have to go to Fargo. I remember going to the dentist in Fargo when I was a kid because there wasn't one in Enderlin at the time. Or if there was, we didn't go for some reason.
Yeah.
But I remember going to Fargo, and then it would be a whole day. Mom would take us and we'd all go. Unfortunately, I'd usually have cavities. And so I would get fillings, and then, we'd go out to eat or something and I wouldn't be able to eat it because you're not supposed to eat or drink for so long, or that was the case, and the fluoride treatments always made me nauseous. So it was not a good day. But as I got older, things like that got easier. I got better at brushing my teeth, I guess. I just remember our day trips to Fargo, and, we probably wouldn't have done those if Mom had been working. We would have done, a Saturday in or something, but, and she, we would go to Music Land and look at records and, find all sorts of interesting, fun things. So, a day at West Acres Shopping Mall was.
Yeah. Mine perfect. Was same. Mom would pick me up for dentist orthodontist appointments, but my dentist was in Valley City.
Oh.
So instead of going to West Acres, we went to the Pomida.
I shopped there many times.
Pomida. And if it was an orthodontist trip, then it was a trip to Jamestown.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And then we would usually have a lunch or something, or stop in and see Uncle Gordy.
Oh,
when he was living and working there.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, we always went into Fargo. We hardly ever went to Valley City or Jamestown. So that's interesting. You guys headed west. Interesting.
Not unlike our ancestors. I headed west.
And they settled in the Red River Valley. Speaking of which, a little Bartholomew trivia for you today.
Oh boy.
Today is, according to the Facebook. A cousin of ours is having a birthday today, and is a cousin that you've never met, as far as I know. In fact, I didn't even know he was a cousin until at a college football game where he went to college in Valley City State, and so did I. And I was a football cheerleader at the time, and he was in the stands, and his parents were visiting. It was Parents' Weekend or something. And they looked in the program, and his dad said, "Hey, do you know this Becky Bartholomew?" And he was like, "Well, yeah, I know her fine, quite well." And he goes, "I bet you're related to her," because there were Bartholomews in his family.
Okay.
And it turns out he was related through the Quads, the family that had the four.
The Browns.
Yes. And I have no idea what the lineage is, but anyway, happy birthday, cousin Mike Z, who has never made it to a Bartholomew gathering. We'll have to see if I can.
So how is this trivia for me when there was no shot at me getting the right answer?
It's just trivia for you in the future. You get to know this in the future if it comes up. If I ever invite you to meet
Terminator
Mike. Sarah and Connor.
Who are we? I mean, I can name the Brown Quads if that's helpful.
Go for it. That's fine, but I don't really need to hear all their names.
Clayton,
Cleo,
Clinton, Connie.
Clayton, nice.
Clinton, Cleo. Right? I think those.
Yeah. Well done.
Clayton, Clinton, Cleo, and Connie.
Yeah.
I've met the Brown Quads when they were all together.
I don't know that I have. They were the thing of legend in our family. I mean, they were the first in the family, but four being born at a time was quite an ordeal.
They were actually. Here's trivia for you. Here's a fun fact. They were actually the first surviving quadruplets in America.
In America? Not just in North Dakota?
No, that's what I was told, in the U.S.
Wow. Look at that. We have Strauss relatives on grandma's side of the family, and then Bartholomew's. Look at all of the fame that we have in this one family tree.
But I have yet to see the benefits of Levi Strauss and
we've tried to trace the family tree to him and get in on a little royalties, but hasn't worked.
Some of that denim royalties.
That's right.
No.
All right. Well, that was my Boathouse moment to start us out. I did want to revisit a little something from our last episode.
Okay.
So I told you that I got myself a little something, a little Gen X treat for Christmas, and I put it in my stocking.
Yeah.
Playing Santa for myself.
The aftershocks.
The aftershocks.
Oh, you went and dug them out of your stocking, or you bought more?
I did. I went and dug out my stocking out of storage, and I got the aftershocks. These are my favorite. They are the descendant of Pop Rocks. I did a little research. Pop Rocks started in like 1975, 76, and they were more sugary.
Oh yeah,
or are they are still pure sugar. The aftershocks came a little later, so we're talking like little later Gen X. They were probably more popular in the 90s than they were like the 80s.
I didn't have them. By then I was in college and I was too cool for Pop Rocks.
Oh my gosh. These are more tart and I think have a little bit more bang to it. Do you remember? I had forgotten this. Do you remember the urban legend that if you ate Pop Rocks and then you drank soda, your stomach would explode?
Yep. Yep. It's another myth created by some boomers who didn't want us to have the pop with the Pop Rocks.
Pop, no candy, no pop. Yeah, and it was even a thing that the kid who played Mikey on the Life cereal, that it had happened to him.
That he had died.
He had died because of it. I know.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have some Pop Rocks. Do you want to have any? Teleport.
Well, once again, teleporting is not happening today. I do remember that, and I do remember being at a friend's house, and we had Pop Rocks, and we had soda, and they lived in West Fargo. I can't remember. I think her name was Shannon. I think she's somehow related to Jason. And we were. And her older brother, we got Pop Rocks, we got Pop, and we went out. There was a field behind their home, and we snuck out there. And he's like, "I'm going to do them both. You're going to get in so much trouble. You're going to get in so much trouble." He's going to take Pop Rocks and drink
You're going to
die. The Coca-Cola. Oh my God. And it was this big thing, like, we're going to get in trouble. And then when he started doing it, we ran back in the house. Oh, we want to know.
Did you? Yes. Well, and now nothing. I mean, honestly, kids have more fun putting a Mentos in
that's a science experiment on a normal Monday now.
Oh, absolutely. All right, I'm going to have a few. Do you want to hear them?
Not necessarily. Okay.
I don't know if you have a choice.
I don't think I do.
Can you hear them?
Uh-huh. Wow.
I got cherry. My favorite.
It sounds like a sizzling egg.
It does. Okay. Normally, if it's not chocolate, I don't want it. But there's something about cherry aftershocks. They make me very happy.
I have no words.
I don't know what to say to you right now.
I'm not.
Where is your inner child? Enjoy some Pop Rocks.
My inner child didn't eat those. I mean, they took away my favorite candy, so I don't know what to say to you.
What's your favorite candy?
The one we talked about before, the peanut butter Twix.
Oh, yeah.
So I've got a little bitterness going on.
Another friend and I were just having the same conversation about 2 weeks ago about how that one disappeared.
Why?
It was so good.
I know. And I can't find anything like it that I like as much.
No, and I can't eat it anyway, but because I can't do the gluten.
Well,
but I did
diabetes.
Like it. Yeah.
Does the aftershocks, is it smoky fresh?
It's got a little of an aftertaste. Smoky fresh, maybe. I would say it has a little more sizzle than that. It's like fresh off the grill.
That is an ingredient that I would like to see on an episode on a Food Network television show, like Chopped. In the baskets, what do you have?
Aftershocks.
I can't
sprinkle them on.
And it's like 80s themed. Chopped episode. What is in the mystery basket? You have 20 minutes to make an appetizer using the following: Spam, Aftershocks.
Yes. And
What
Heinz
else would be in there?
57 steak sauce.
Heinz 57 steak sauce. And we need
and then
cooked carrots.
and right. School lunch. Man,
create a school lunch appetizer using the following ingredients.
That I would watch. Okay, Food Network, get on it. I want to see the 80s or the Gen X reboot of school lunch. Let's make it. I want to see it elevated and delicious.
I want turn school lunch into fine dining. You have 30 minutes.
Yep. Go. And you got to use the tray with all the segmented parts to it. Oh, heck yeah. And I think there should be a big, huge commodity can of peanut butter involved also.
The peanut butter.
That was the backup.
I didn't know school lunch was bad until I moved to Kansas. Because we had really good school lunch, I think.
We did. Yeah. Our Enderlin cooks were very good.
They were really good. Like the homemade chicken noodle soup day in the winter and the homemade buns.
The buns. Oh, they were amazing.
Even the peanut butter sandwiches they would make for vegetable soup, they put honey or something in the peanut butter.
It was delish.
The meatballs. We had the meatballs and the mashed potatoes.
Man, the mashed potatoes. To this day, I love instant mashed potatoes. I used to ask my mom to buy them when I was a kid, buy a box of them. And she would always say no because Dad thought it was better that we ate regular real potatoes, and they were probably cheaper too. But every once in a while, she'd get a box of potato buds, and ooh, life was good. I don't know why, but those were so good. My favorite thing.
Yeah. And then when I moved to Kansas and the first day I went to school lunch, now granted in high school we had a salad bar.
Yeah, nice.
A mini salad bar, but the quality of the food, the bigger the school, I think the less the quality of the food, probably because they're feeding so many kids.
Yeah.
Our grandma was a
lunch lady.
A lunch lady in Sheldon back in the day. So I'm sure those kids ate well.
And in fact, when my family moved to Sheldon when I was a sophomore, they would still make the oatmeal bars that Grandma would make with the brown sugar frosting. Oh, so delicious.
Yes.
Loved it. Okay.
Okay. We've gone off the road again.
We have a little bit. I know. Sorry. I got distracted with my aftershocks. Oh, they were good though. Gotta admit. I should have brought up a soda with me. I could have done the taste test and seen if my mouth exploded.
We don't need to find that out live.
No. Well, today I'm glad we started talking about our moms. Having a stay-at-home mom was great. My mom went back to work part-time when we were in high school, or I was probably in junior high. And then, so there were some days, we'd get home and she wasn't home yet, but for the most part, she was still home. And your mom went back to work also when you were in high school, correct?
Junior high. Before we left Enderlin.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, she worked part-time as a bookkeeper at one of the grain elevators.
Yes, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah. So they were home in our, very formative early years. I do think sometimes that growing up with that stay-at-home parent in our rural, just, kind of comfy community that we were in, I wasn't adequately prepared for growing up and going off to work. I still, even to this day, and part of it is from being in education for so long, at the end of the day, like for me, the end of the day is 4:00 p.m. That's when my body starts to shut down. It doesn't mean I get to be done at that point, but it's like being on a school clock for so long. My body says, oh, it's 4 p.m. You're done. You can relax. You should be watching a little TV, like it doesn't, I wasn't adequately prepared because our home was so comforting and such a nice place. And because we didn't have as much of a schedule as some of my classmates did, who both had both parents working. And then I would say too that, and I know Gen Xers have had to deal with this in huge, we were the first generation who had kids, and they were all going to daycare. I mean, in mass. I mean, there were definitely, like you said, we were the latchkey generation. There were definitely things like that happening when we were growing up, some families. But when we grew up and started having kids, I was not adequately prepared for the mental and emotional toil that I would go through with taking my kids to daycare every day. I felt a lot of guilt wanting to be home with them because that's what I knew and thought that would be, better or best. And I did stay home with my kids for 8 years when they were really little. And it was the hardest job I've ever had. It was wonderful. It was great. I wouldn't change it. But oh boy, I was not a natural preschool teacher type person. And so trying to do preschool activities and, just keep them busy all day and every day. And oh boy, it was a lot. It was a lot. I did not excel. I did okay. I did okay, but I did not excel. I don't know. Which takes me into our conversation for today is I want to talk a little bit about we Gen X women and our professional lives and how the idea of career and having a career and how long should you be in the same profession, or how often should you change jobs, or can you change jobs? I mean, all of those questions that we Gen Xers have had to deal with, because the baby boomer generation was definitely more of you get a job, you have it for life, and then you retire. And, now they're saying 5, 6, 7 big job changes throughout your lifetime is a good idea. Profession changes. So, I would love to kind of get your take on that and just kind of talk our way through how we both, got out of high school and entered into the workforce and college force and where it's taken us and where we've ended up. Principal Downey.
I'm not a principal. Don't label me
like a principal. You're a principal adjacent.
I think that sums up my sums up my life. No. Yeah. I mean, like, I didn't start working until I was in college because being the oldest, I was the babysitter. So there were times in high school, like, I wanted to get a job like my friends and have my own thing, and they made friends at work and stuff, but my job was the babysitter and the chauffeur and all that, and especially in the summertime when mom and dad were both working, because they were full-time working when we moved to Kansas, both of them. So then when I went to college, it was a hard concept at first when I was in that first year of college to wrap my head around, well, how am I going to do school and work? Because babysitting was babysitting. Like, it's my brother's, whatever.
Yeah.
How am I going to do that? That gave me, now when I look back, it gave me a lot of stress and anxiety, just the whole idea of it. Like, I don't know if I know how to do this. But then I realized, if I want to have my own apartment the next year and do all these things, I'm going to have to pay for it. So I got my first job at Food for Less in college. Or as we used to call it, Food's a Mess.
Food's a mess.
I mean, because, you look at the concept. It's this massive chain grocery store across like the Midwest to the West. I think our company headquarters was like in California or somewhere. But you put a bunch of college kids from 4 or 5 o'clock. Yeah. And on the weekends, it's a 24-hour store. And we're in charge of everything. That's crazy. Now, in retrospect, that store no longer exists. like I was the nighttime. I mean, I started as a checker cashier, right? I could still tell you the code for bananas and lettuce if you want me to. Have nightmares sometimes. I can't remember what my login is at the cashier station and the lines are backing up. And then I got promoted to be in the office to like do the bookkeeping.
Yeah.
What I had a checking account. That's the
I was just going to ask how qualified you were for that position.
I could count money. That was pretty much it. You learned on the spot. It did teach me very quickly. I do know how to 10 key. Like I can, which is handy now as an educator. Like when you were entering grades. Oh yeah, I could do that super fast.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, like I started out in the grocery store. I know yours is probably what, Dairy Queen?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I did the babysitting thing too, but then my family owned that seasonal Dairy Queen that was open a few months of every year during the summer.
That was my plan. Before we moved, I was going to go work for Uncle Bart. I was going to go work for Jerry at the Dairy Queen. That was what I would do. And no, didn't work at the Dairy Queen. I have friends who worked at the Dairy Queen in high school. We had 2 in my town.
Yes, I heard. I remember. Big
9
town.
More. I think they're both gone now. There's only one.
Oh, R.I.P. Dairy Queen.
Yeah,
our one in Enderlin is gone too. That little building is all gone.
Parking lot.
Is no more. Yeah, it is. But you know, there were a lot of high school kids who got their spending money from working at the DQ every summer and
making the cones.
That was a big part of why my parents bought it. My dad knew in a small town that he'd want his kids to have a job someday when they were in high school. And and I had always planned on being a lifeguard because I lived at the pool and loved it. But you know, and I had friends who worked at the DQ, plus they were lifeguards too. Yeah. So it was quite busy. But I will say Bart liked having his own children readily available. You know, every year on 4th of July, all the other workers would get the time off, but Becky and Joel would be working.
Becky and Joel.
Yeah. On my birthday even. Beck, you're down to work. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Once again. But I will, you know, you said something though that you're right. For, you know, our Dairy Queen one it didn't overlap a whole lot with school. It just would a little in the spring and a little in the fall before it was closed for the cold season. And then when I got to call,
for you listeners that don't live up north, a lot of Dairy Queens don't stay open all year. That's a concept in the South people don't understand because Dairy Queen never closes here. Yeah.
Right. Especially if it's a DQ that's, you know, small and doesn't have a lot of indoor seating. Yeah. Ours was just a walk up to the window type place. When I got to college and started working and was working all year long, I was burned out quite often because I too was thinking, how do I do this? How do I do school and work? And it did teach me how to budget my time a whole lot more. Unfortunately, I liked to be social. And so sometimes the homework would be put off to the side because I wanted, you know, I'd go to work and then I'd want to hang out with friends or a boyfriend or whatever. But, and then the homework would come last, but I made decent grades.
Do you see where I went to school?
I
think I was putting homework for
You were sitting in line to get tickets to the basketball game is what you were doing.
I was.
You were waiting for Roy Williams to
waiting.
You were getting Roy Williams donuts.
Roy Williams bringing me donuts and pizza while we sat in line.
Yeah. So it was good. And then from college, I will say, so I didn't realize this until I was older. But where we grew up in the upper Midwest, people grew up and they got married. I mean, it wasn't a whole lot of going off to college, having a career for 10, 15 years, and then thinking about settling down. It was the settling down part was much earlier in people's lives. You know, I even had classmates who got married this summer, or one classmate who got married this summer after we graduated high school. And, you know, and when we were graduating college, you and I were both getting married at that time, and as were our friends. I didn't realize until I started meeting people who grew up on the East Coast and other more populated areas that wasn't the norm all over, um, necessarily. Although I do think it's a Gen X thing too, where so many of us grew up, and like our parents, they grew up and got married shortly after high school, lots of
Mhm.
them, and then started families and stuff. And I kind of felt that, not pressure, but like that was the natural order of things.
Mm.
And getting married and finishing college and then trying to start lives together. And I didn't really have a good sense of, oh, I have professional goals that I could go after, because marriage and then thoughts about kids or buying a house or any of those things were going to come first.
Right.
Yeah.
Mine was more, well, you know me, I'm stubborn.
No.
Yes. Mine was more, I had no intention of getting married young.
Mm.
Did not want to. I'd always said I was going to be older, that I was going to go take away Barbara Walters' job from her.
Mm.
Like I had
Yeah.
those goals. And then when I had my college boyfriend, and we were both December graduates, so he went back to where he lived and worked for his father, but I stayed behind at Kansas at KU to do my student teaching, and back then student teaching was in grad school. So I started grad school.
Wow.
And now when I look back as me, this 50 something year old woman, and I look back, I realized that I was in a highly toxic relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't see that because most people around me were. They just were.
Mm.
So you thought it was normal.
Interesting.
You thought it was normal. And
Yeah.
then I think what happened is he moved back and I started to find myself again, and was making new friends in grad school and was doing study groups, and I was going out again more, and people were talking about doing this or that. Like I was looking at the broader scope, and I don't think he liked that. I think it scared him
Mm.
because we had briefly talked about marriage, like maybe getting engaged in a year or two. And all of a sudden, I mean, it wasn't even maybe 6 weeks from when he graduated, he proposed. Like he had moved
Yeah.
back and he was on his own, and it was very quick. And then I was kind of in that, well, I'm not ready to break up with him. So I guess I marry him, because that's the
Yes.
next step.
Exactly. You just took the words right out of my mouth. I remember
Mhm.
having that same conversation with my college boyfriend, and well, it's the next step. And so we might as well get engaged, and we might as well get married. And it was like there were no other next steps.
Right. And
That was the next step.
there was nothing that was telling us as girls. We didn't talk about it really too much with our girlfriends either. Like even my best friend
Mm-mm.
from college, who I'm still super close with today, we
Mm-hmm.
didn't talk about that. She observed things, in the
Yeah.
relationship she was in prior to her boyfriend that she married. I saw things in a different relationship he was in, but we didn't say those things or voice those things because you were being supportive. That was how we
Mm-hmm.
supported. We were silent.
Mm-hmm.
And I would not do that now.
Yes.
Or you didn't want to upset the other
Yeah.
person or hurt the friendship. So you
Mm-hmm.
protected the friendship by saying nothing. And that,
Mm-hmm.
thank God, people talk about stuff more, because that's just terrifying to me. Because I've also have friends that did the same thing and were in relationships that were abusive in so many
Mm-hmm.
ways and
Mm-hmm.
dangerous, and we didn't discuss it. But how could we have helped each other? How could we have kept you out of that and protected? Some of them have children. Like, how do
Mm-hmm.
you? It's just so scary now. Like, we should
It
have talked
is.
more when we were younger. We were sarcastic. We joked about it, but if there was a problem, we didn't want to admit it. And I don't know if that's from the Midwest. I don't know if it's because we watched the Boomers and you got married and you stayed married and you suffered through whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah.
there was no, hey, am I happy? Do I want to marry this person? Do I want to go do this or that he wants to do? There was none of that was even an option in my life.
None of it. No. And my mom and I have talked about this. I was like 2 years into my young marriage and, early 20s at this point. And I remember thinking, this is just not good. I am not happy. This is not okay. And I remember talking to my mom and crying and just saying, I don't know that I'm supposed to be married. And at the time she said, you stick this out. And, I think she thought I was being flighty. And many years down the road, also learning that I had been in a controlling, not healthy relationship. Looking at it and talking about it with my mom, she has said, oh, I didn't give you the good advice, and it's not like I'm going to blame my 20-year marriage on my mom, but I agree with you. I wish we had been able to talk about it and talk about what was healthy. And yeah, that you don't have to get married and then you just stay there because that's what you do. You have to be healthy and you have to be safe and all of those things.
And it shouldn't be a conversation that happens after you're married. It should be conversations you're happening as you're dating these people. We just, I don't know. And now, it took me a long time before, I got married again. Yeah. But I knew it took a lot of relationships. Well, not a lot, not some relationships in between. Right. To learn to break patterns. Because I would catch myself in one but I did recognize, wait, I'm feeling like I did when I was married. That's not good. Yeah. Or this is not a good feeling. And, it took a long time, but I started recognizing it faster and faster and faster till I just realized, why am I even engaging in it? And then I met the Sean.
I know. And he's such a good one. Shout out to Sean. But what you just said kind of segues into what I was thinking next too, is that kind of same atmospheric feeling went with me into the job force also. I took jobs and I stayed in jobs with bosses who were toxic and coworkers who were toxic, or even if it wasn't that negative, it was just not the right fit for me. But, I grew up with my dad. I remember my dad saying, you know what, Beck, if you work hard, you keep your head down and you do your job, you're going to be fine. And that wasn't the case. I got cut from schools when budget cuts came along, twice. That happened to me early in my career because I was low on the totem pole. And kind of that whole idea of if you're a good worker, you're going to be fine. I had to rethink that. Yeah. And I've talked to other Gen Xers too, who say the same thing. Like they had been coached by their boomer parents that you take the job, you stick with the job, and you do a good job at it. And that hasn't really fed us as people, as humans who need something fulfilling in our lives when we are going to work every single day. So it's been fun. Yeah. It's actually been fun to look back and chart this for me. And I use the word fun kind of loosely, but I mean it. Like I can look back and I can see the decisions that I've made in my life to get me to where I am and along the way. And I'm pretty proud of some of those decisions because I did go against the grain for some of the things that I was raised to believe, Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, like, I've been very fortunate in the jobs that I've had. Because I worked out of school here for 20 years. I actually left that school, went north for a year, and came back to the same school. But I stayed not so much because I felt like I had to, but because I got lucky and I found a wonderful place to work. Like I had, my work family was my second family. And that's true still now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm in a school and people
Yeah.
will ask me, would you consider moving to this district? Would you consider coming to our school over here doing that? And I'm like, no, because I know as an educator, when you find a good team of good people,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and you enjoy seeing and working with them every day, you don't find that everywhere.
No.
And you, when you find it, you hang on to it as long as you can.
Yeah.
So that's been
Yeah.
more of my motivation and not, I mean, I've had different jobs and different, I mean, they've all been in education. Most of them have been in teaching and now assistant principal,
Mm-hmm.
but that's all. I have the loyalty to the team, not to the job.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is more what it
Which
is.
is awesome. I love that. That's great. And you went on and you got your master's degree.
Yeah.
And as did I. And I started mine before I had kids, but then finished it after I had kids, which was, extremely difficult. Hats off to anybody out there who is doing the whole college thing
At
as
the
a
same
parent.
time.
Yeah, it's hard. And working full time. I mean, it is hard, but it's also extremely rewarding when it's done, and it's nice to get a bump in pay or whatever comes with it, even though when you're in
Wasn't a
public
lot.
education,
It
it doesn't pay for itself.
It. No. No. I'm always, speaking of that, like people that have never taught in the public school system or taught in education in the United States are always in shock when they're like, well, can't you just negotiate your salary? I mean, you do this and this all the time. Shouldn't you get paid more than this person over here? I'm like, it's not the corporate world. It's unfair. It doesn't make sense. It's how it's always been. Every state might have a different way they do it or district, but
Sure.
no, it's not negotiable. Well, why can't you just pick up and leave right now? Well, I do have a contract.
Yes.
And if you break that contract, you could lose your certification. Like there's things that can happen to you. You can't just, when you say I'm going to be here, I'm going to be here. And unless someone clears you from it, excuses you. And that's not easy to do now because there's such a shortage. So
right. And plus you and I were raised by parents, as were so many Gen Xers. We were raised by parents who were like, you go to work. Yeah. And you don't skip work. You don't take vacations. You don't do that stuff because you got to work. Work is important. Work's the number one thing. And I would say it took me until, my mid 40s before I started thinking, no, I'm going to take half a personal day. And when you're in public education, you get like maybe 2 personal days a year. You don't get and you're encouraged to do all of your appointments, doctor's appointments, all those things in the summer when school is not in session. So it wasn't a situation where I felt like I could take a day off very often, and then prepping for a sub was extremely
so much work
difficult.
to prep for that day off.
Yeah. And so it just was not good. But I will say now, I've definitely come into my own when I protect my personal time and my personal finances. I stopped buying things for my classroom all the time because there wasn't any money in the budget for it. And as much as there were things that I wish I would have had to use with my students, or maybe they needed something, I started looking for other ways to meet those needs rather than opening up my own checkbook, and I am proud of coming into this part of my life in the 50s and in my 50s and saying, I think it's time for me to make a career change. And because it's scary and it's hard, and going back to school full time for another degree, which is ridiculous in my mind, but helpful, good classes. I'm enjoying it, but it's just like, how many degrees do I need?
42.
77. No, but here's the difference. A year ago was in the office with my bosses, and I had been accepted to this graduate school and was given some scholarship money, but I had, was basically going to either use it or lose it for the year. And I in the middle of like October was thinking this through. And for a teacher to think about leaving in the middle of the school year is almost unheard of, voluntarily leaving, it's certainly not encouraged. But
Oh.
I had a boss, a superintendent who, when I met with him, he was so supportive. And he had gone back to school later in life and gotten his administrative degree. And he sat across from me at his desk and he said, Becky, just do it. What are you waiting for? This is awesome. I'm so excited for you. I mean, he was so nurturing and kind. And that wasn't the environment that I was in when I first started teaching.
No.
And it wasn't that I didn't have kind administrators at any of my previous jobs when I first started teaching, but it just wasn't heard of. It wasn't accessible. I'm doing all of my classes via Zoom. I don't have to be traveling to go to class every day, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that has changed. And I like that about the new generations of students having more compassion for other people's situations, like my bosses did.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
I was just going to say, they gave me a 2-year leave of absence for me to go and try this and see if it's something that I really, truly want to do, which means in about a month and a half, I have to give them
pull the trigger,
my resignation or I'm coming back. But it's been nice. It's been nice to know I can go back and have a job if I need it, if this new direction doesn't pan out. But yeah, I think it's panning out. Yeah. I've definitely had to find some courage in this change.
Change is hard.
Oh,
and we were raised by a generation that doesn't embrace change.
Mm-hmm.
And as Gen Xers, we don't necessarily embrace it, but we're also risk takers.
Mm-hmm.
So every once in a while, we'll still roll the dice. We still look for that adrenaline rush.
For sure.
Being feral on our own until the lights on at night. Doing whatever we wanted. It's a rush. Gotta find a rush. Now it's just a very nerdy way to do that, I think.
It is. Do you think, coming from the generation that was filled with John Hughes films, all about teenage angst or young adult angst, and do you think that has shaped you at all, or does that linger?
Yeah. The only reason why I even found my first husband attractive is because he had Jake Schoffelling's hair from 16 Candles.
Oh, Jake.
And I now know that is not grounds to start a relationship because he was no Jake. Oh, not Jake Schoffelling.
Jake Ryan.
Yeah, Jake Schoffelling with Jake Ryan.
Well,
played by Michael Schoffeling.
Michael, yes.
Apologies to every Gen Xer out there.
Sorry.
Yes, he had Jake Ryan's hair. But he was no Jake Ryan.
We all deserved a little Jake in our lives.
A haircut does not Jake make. Oh, see what I did there? See what I did there?
Well done. It doesn't.
Yeah, like the John Hughes films. And it's another part of the toxic relationship. So many of those movies, the way they speak to each other, it was romantic.
It was. Or all of a sudden the bad guy, like Bender on Breakfast Club, all of a sudden he's sweet enough that somebody can, make out with him and give her his diamond earring. I mean, no, the bad boys stay bad. And
the bad boys stay bad. And he's spoken to you horribly. He told you were going to be fat when you grew up. He mocked you the whole way. And then you made out with him in a closet. Yes. See, these were our role models.
They were. And plus this was coming from, we were told when we were little, oh, he picked on you in the playground. It's because he likes you. He pulled your hair.
That's
he must like you.
Not a reason to allow a boy to hurt you. Yeah.
No, but I bought into that
That's
crap.
What we were told. Oh yeah. And it was somehow it all works out. Jake Ryan. And then Bender. I mean, Ferris Bueller got her to skip school all day long.
I know. So troublesome. And yeah, and I love Ferris. Ferris. Bueller. It still is great.
I mean, what was the Some Can't Buy Me Love? He paid her to be the girl. Like,
and she was awful to him.
She was awful
and he
to
put
him.
up with it.
He did.
Yeah.
But it also is like, well, if you get something from this, like, because we're not, don't get me wrong. I love John Hughes movies. They're the best.
Amen.
I can quote them all backwards and forwards. But yeah, when you look back at it, it was not the best. And you couldn't make a lot of those movies now. You can't say those things anymore or do those things anymore.
No.
But yeah.
I had a student once about 15 years ago ask me, an 8th grader, say, "Hey, Ms. B, have you seen the movie 16 Candles?" And I don't know why, but that day I lost it. I laughed so hard. I got the giggles and I couldn't stop because I started quoting the movie to the students, and they were laughing because a few of them had watched it together. And so they were laughing over some of the characters and the situations. And I started quoting the movie, and half the movie is not school appropriate. And so, oh my gosh, in my mind, half of those scenes are going through my mind, and I was laughing and giggling. And pretty soon the 8th graders are like, why is this so funny? And I'm like, are you kidding? He comes out of the stall with her underwear, and all the nerds go, "Oh, it's terrible." Oh,
I don't want to freak you out, but last night at the dance, my brother paid $2 to see your underpants. Was it $2 or $1? My brother paid $1 to see your underpants. $2 was better off dead. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And honestly, if out of all of the John Hughes guys, I would pick Jake Ryan.
Oh yeah,
because he was a very sweet and kind and good-hearted boy.
Not to the current girlfriend who he threw in a car with the geek. Said, "Have fun."
I forgot.
Okay.
I take it back. I take it back, Jake. You snake. Jake.
Didn't even break up with her first.
See, look at how I've been conditioned. Oh, 16 Candles, great movie. Jake was a good guy. No, he wasn't.
Wasn't till the end. And we just hope he's learned his lessons with Samantha.
Absolutely.
It was funny to have like 16. Now that we're all Gen Xers. 62 candles. Where is Jake and Samantha today?
See, we want our reboot for school lunch. And now we also want our reboot of 16 Candles. Oh my gosh.
I tell you one thing, they would not be, for that 62th birthday, they would not be on top of the dining room table leaning over the cake because their backs couldn't. How would they get on the table? How?
Plus, we always wondered, how did they do that and not burn their faces off? That was a heck of a blaze on that cake. And, we were all looking at it, we would rewind it, the old VHS tape, rewind it and play it again. And we think that the cake was pushed back a ways on the table, but the camera angle makes it look like it's between the two of them.
Yeah.
It's the only way we
can see their knees over the cake a little bit. Yeah.
Yes. Plus, when you think about it, any person with 80s hair, that would have been a massive catastrophe. Poosh! Yeah, they would have gone up.
Aquanet emergency.
Would Jake have been so good without his hair? I don't know. He was in Vision Quest and he had no hair. He had a shaved head.
Yeah, see, I wasn't as attracted to Michael Schiffeling in Vision Quest. It was just the character Jake Ryan.
Jake Ryan.
Jake.
Oh. Don't get me started.
See, they could tie on the Food Network. They could tie the chopped 80s episode for dessert. Recreate Samantha's birthday cake.
See? Right? Or the grandma's cooking the breakfast and the one's got her cigarette and the ashes. The other one's trying to catch it with a spatula.
And she just opens the box of donuts. Voila.
Oh.
Can you remember to take the roast out at 8? I can remember.
I can remember a lot of things. Oh my God, it was so good.
Yeah.
Jake, you act like you're hard up.
Hey.
You got Caroline. I mean, she's a woman.
And now when you watch it back, like now they'll show the unedited version we didn't get back then, with some scenes cut.
Oh.
But you notice like the little things in the background, like one of my favorites of the scene you just quoted is when you see the little tiny freshman throwing around this kid. He's like,
on the wrestling mat. It's so great.
We didn't pay attention to that one.
And that's why I loved John Hughes movies, because he did pay attention to little things like that.
And he could. There were so many details.
Yeah, and he captured teen angst like nobody's business.
100%. Now, was that realistic? Yes, because that's how his characters were realistic.
Yeah.
They were those people.
Yeah.
So, it's not on John Hughes. It's not his fault. It's just he was putting on film what we actually were doing. But it also reiterated what I should not be doing.
Yeah. How to live life or not. One thing we could never get over is every main guy character who, was supposed to be the heartthrob that everybody wanted would wear khakis. And, where we were in the Midwest, no men wore khakis. No boys wore khakis. That was never a thing. We didn't have any preps or anybody at our school. Or if they were, it was like jeans, acid wash jeans or something. And so we would watch those shows, and like I'd look at Andrew McCarthy and I'd be like, why are you wearing
a blazer and dress pants to school?
Yeah.
Is it your Christmas pageant?
Exactly.
Are you going to church
after this? Yeah.
Is there a choir? What's going on? No, we were purely denim.
Lots of denim.
Well, small community, farming community.
Denim. Absolutely. Well, and plus in the late 80s, denim, acid wash, and stonewash denim was all the rage. Like you had the long skirt, the jacket, the jeans, the tiny little flats that you wore with them, the big hair and the fun jewelry. And I mean, you were all decked in denim from top to bottom. Some people had the little barrettes that had the denim coating on them. I mean, it was everything denim from top to bottom.
Denim.
It was bring back the denim.
We did this year. We had a faculty underground spirit week, secret spirit week, where we don't tell the kids, but the faculty's doing spirit weeks. And this year, I think it was this year that we did it. We did denim on denim day.
Nice.
And we just wore all the denim.
Fun.
Yeah, that was one of the spirit days this year.
Did you roll your jeans?
We all have it. No, it was not 80s denim on denim. It was just denim on denim.
I don't know that I could do the whole denim on denim without rolling my jeans, though. It's like they have to go hand in hand.
It's too much of a hassle in my brain. Now. And we gotta
bend over.
You gotta bend over.
You gotta reach. Gotta try
to cut off your circulation. No one wants cankles. So
no. Plus, I like to wear socks now that I'm older. Socks are my friend. I don't
comfortable.
I don't want to show my cold
ankles.
You
go for comfort now. Sorry.
Yes. 100%. Yeah. Well, okay. I think we've covered my topic for the day. You got anything else that we need to cover?
Well, once upon a time, no. Not today. Not today. No, I think we're going to wrap it up here for this episode of the Boathouse Girls.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for listening to our ramblings, as usual.
Good night. Or good afternoon.